This podcast is brought to you by Three Rivers Energy Partners. In today's episode of Digest This.
Denver teaming up with Waste Management to build Colorado's largest renewable natural gas facility.
More than 200 cities and counties have either committed to or actually achieved 100% clean electricity goals at this point.
They proved you can have 100% renewable electricity and still keep the city financially stable.
Welcome to Digest This, Unpacking Our Sustainable Future, where we dive deep into the latest developments in sustainability and renewable energy. Join us in exploring the pioneering solutions and technologies that are shaping our future. Now, let's dive into today's episode.
Welcome back to Digest This, Unpacking Our Sustainable Future. I'm Alex, and I'm joined, as always, by my very brilliant co-host, Emily. So, Emily, today we're talking about something that gets me genuinely excited. Cities across the U.S. ramping up their clean energy targets in a big way. We've talked about policy and tech in previous episodes, but it's amazing to see the local action right now, especially as we close in on 2026.
Right? It feels like 2026 is everywhere in these city sustainability plans these days. And for good reason. There's this huge momentum. We are seeing reports of more than 200 cities and counties have either committed to or actually achieved 100% clean electricity goals at this point. That's wild when you think about how much local leadership is driving the energy transition right now, even as federal policy sputters along sometimes.
I mean, yeah, a third of Americans are living in a city or state with some kind of 100% clean energy commitment. Atlanta, San Diego, Minneapolis, Orlando, St. Louis, these are big players setting benchmarks for 2026. And it's not just setting a headline goal, they're getting into the weeds with real strategies. We've got policy mandates, city government coalitions, robust community solar, public-private partnerships, all coming together. It's a whole ecosystem, not just one city council pushing something through.
Totally. And each city's approach is a little different depending on scale and local resources. Like, Aspen in Colorado was one of the earliest to hit that full renewable mark. They leaned heavily on hydro and wind and got buy-in with strategic planning. But then you have cities like Georgetown, Texas, or Burlington, Vermont, which approached it through long-term contracts or municipal investments in clean energy. I always find Burlington fascinating. They proved you can have 100% renewable electricity and still keep the city financially stable.
You know, I love that you bring up Burlington. I mean, they hit this milestone with a mix of hydro, wind, and policy alignment across departments. Super intentional. And if we look at Denton, Texas, they managed 100% with wind and solar, which honestly blows my mind because Texas, as we know, isn't exactly famous for leading the clean energy charge, at least not historically. But it shows that even cities in oil-centric states can do this with the right model.
Exactly. And small towns like East Hampton, New York, they're showing that comprehensive energy plans can work outside big metros. They're even including heating and community energy systems in their targets, collaborating with state and local programs. It kind of illustrates that no one size fits all.
Yeah, and that brings up the big question. What's working best? Is it bold mandates, grassroots organizing, or just having the right stakeholders in the room? And honestly, what's still getting in their way? I mean, we've both seen so many city goals stall out on funding, community buy-in, or getting utility cooperation. You know, we keep talking about wins, but the barriers are real.
Oh, absolutely. There's always that push-pull between ambition and practical constraints, right? Even with coalition efforts, cities still grapple with scaling grid upgrades and making sure everyone in the community benefits, not just the folks already tuned into sustainability. But what stands out is how these cities are testing different playbooks, so we're seeing what's replicable and where cities hit the wall.
That's actually a perfect transition. Let's talk about concrete action, like the new partnership in Denver. This is huge. Denver teaming up with Waste Management to build Colorado's largest renewable natural gas facility. It's taking landfill gas, otherwise just methane floating up and making trouble, and actually converting it to RNG. That means less methane in the atmosphere and more clean fuel options, which is a pretty big deal for both the city's vehicles and for energy going back into the grid.
I know, I got so excited when I saw the announcement. We've talked a lot about biogas in past episodes. Episode 6, actually, if anyone wants a primer on the workforce side of things. But what Denver's doing here is really next level. Taking landfill gas that would otherwise just leak out and using it to power fleet vehicles, even possibly for grid injection, that's a pretty full circle sustainability win.
And it's not just a win for climate, right? Methane abatement from landfills is critical because, as everyone listening probably knows, methane's a way more potent greenhouse gas than CO2. So every ton they convert to RNG is a ton not warming up the planet. Plus, by using RNG to displace diesel in their city vehicle fleet, they're also cutting down on local air pollution. I always think people underestimate how much diesel emissions hit city air, especially in neighborhoods near those big fleet depots. And here you've got this clean tech solution dropping both greenhouse gases and particulate matter at once.
Yes, and let's not forget the potential for economic benefits too. Jobs created at the facility, new opportunities for skilled technicians, and partnerships between city and private enterprise like waste management. It's the kind of model we need to see elsewhere. If done right, it's a win for the city, for public health, and honestly, for anyone who has to sit behind a garbage truck at a stoplight on a hot summer day. Seriously.
I'm with you on that last point. And, Denver's project really reflects what we keep coming back to. A city stepping up as a lab for sustainability. They're showing the rest of the country that with a willing partner, and by treating their waste stream as a resource, you can get pretty far along the clean energy curve. It's no longer just theoretical or nice to have, it's literally happening right now.
So, given all of that, what do you think? What actually makes these projects scalable? Because honestly, Denver's project is impressive, but if it just stays in Denver, we're missing a much bigger opportunity. I was just thinking about Orlando and Minneapolis. Both have community-focused clean energy initiatives, and they weren't afraid to adapt from what worked in other cities.
I agree, and it's sort of the million-dollar question, right? For me, scalability comes down to three main things. Stakeholder engagement, like real dialogue, not just checking boxes. Having policy incentives in place, at the state or municipal level, doesn't matter. And then a willingness to iterate. That last one, honestly, is where a lot of projects trip up. They treat the original plan as gospel and get stuck. But if you look at places like Minneapolis with those community-wide energy programs, they actively pivoted and listened. That helps get everyone on board, especially in the early bumpy phases.
I feel that. You need champions inside City Hall, but also on the ground. Neighbors, business owners, sometimes even school districts. When that coalition comes together, state-level incentives suddenly become a lot more meaningful, and funding options open up. But it doesn't always look flashy. Sometimes it's just a series of meetings and late-night emails and revisiting the plan over and over again.
Yeah, and if we want to get granular, the replicability piece for, let's say, a smaller city or rural community, it's got to start with local context. They don't always have the same waste streams as Denver or the same capital. But what they do have is the blueprint. Like East Hampton we mentioned earlier, they took a small town approach, leveraging state frameworks and tailoring it for local needs. It's not about carbon copying, it's about retooling for your backyard, literally.
Absolutely. And honestly, I think innovations in finance, like project aggregation or regional partnerships, might be the lever to really get rural and mid-sized cities into the RNG game. If you can lower the upfront risk, you open the door to more creative tech and business models. But tangent here, you can't ignore the importance of recruiting the right partners. I might be repeating myself, but public-private collaboration is not an optional step. It's foundational.
And, maybe we'll see new coalition models pop up as policy matures and more local governments see the benefits firsthand. It's going to take a lot of creativity, maybe some lessons learned the hard way, but the path's getting clearer with every successful project.
Yeah, and just knowing that cities like Denver are blazing that trail makes the prospect less daunting for everyone else. All right, Alex, I think we've set up plenty to chew on for our next episode. Whether it's more deep dives into the policy side, or maybe some voices directly from these cities leading the charge.
Sounds good to me, Emily. Always great having these conversations and peeling the layers back a bit. For everyone listening, thanks for joining us. If you want to keep following these stories or have something you want us to explore, let us know. See you next time.
Take care, Alex, and bye to all our listeners. Keep looking for those sustainable sparks in your own community. We'll be back soon.
Thank you for listening to Digest This, Unpacking Our Sustainable Future, a Three Rivers Energy Partners podcast. Three Rivers Energy Partners is a renewable energy company that empowers organizations with the ability to create a sustainable future by converting organic waste streams into renewable energy and resources. To get the latest episode of Digest This, or to find out more about Three Rivers Energy Partners, visit threeriversenergy.com or find us on LinkedIn, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. The sustainable future is being created right now. Keep exploring and keep up to speed with the latest in renewable energy and sustainability. See you next time.